Everyday Superpower, a place where we talk and learn about body language, relationships, attraction, repulsion, game, everything in between. Two links in the description of this video. One of them will take you through to my catalogue of body language. It's a YouTube playlist where I teach you the A to Z of reading someone's mind through their own subconscious behaviours. Second to that is the Patreon. The Patreon is going to have you join me in observing and breaking down the attraction and repulsion cues and body behaviors that manifest in real time in real life first dates. All right, that's the real game. I'll show you how to observe that, avoid that maneuver around in your own, world of love and romance. Now, we're going to talk body language on this video. Did you see that? Did you see that? You see that? You see that? Movement is what we're talking about. Movement attracts attention. Movement attracts attention, yeah? When the woman leans over to you and squeezes her breasts together, that movement creates attention. When the woman flutters her eyelids, it creates attention to her eyes. When that woman takes her hands and squeezes her waist, it creates attention to the buttocks, to the groinal area, and it falls twofold purely as we have a section of our brain that pays particular interest to the hands of other human beings. We used to walk on all fours, we started to walk on twos upright, our hands became weapons, it became important to pay attention to the hands. So what the hands create are important. On the flip side, we talk about having a freeze response, generally speaking, across, people who don't necessarily have the depth of knowledge we do. It gets called what? Well, you know what? They call it fight and flight. So I guess to the general public, it could be deemed as a degree of flight. But we throw the third choice in, and that's freeze, the freeze response, which tends to come first and foremost. When you're walking down the street and you catch something that surprises you, maybe you remember, I've left the iron on at home. Maybe a car gets too close to the side and you see it, you freeze. There's not much you can do, so your body locks up in shock. Plays possum. Plays dead momentarily as your brain has to, re-engage and work out an escape mechanism. Doesn't work on autopilot. You don't just jump out of the way like that. You freeze up. So that's the flip side of movement. And when we freeze up, that's our body's primitive wiring telling what it deems a threat, i.e. a scary creature, a predator, that we're not here. Because movement attracts attention. Yeah? If you're a boxer, you can do what's called telegraphing, or I guess a fighter in general can telegraph a punch, yeah? That's to create too much movement before the initiation of the strike. A boxer will try to limit the movement in order to not telegraph what they're about to do, where they're about to go, and so forth. Such as a footballer in a penalty shootout, yeah? It's not in the football player's interest to telegraph and create a movement that signals where they're going to fire that ball, so they limit that movement because that movement attracts attention and creates an understanding. So when you see somebody move, pay attention to what's being moved. Pay attention to what's being highlighted in that movement, because at the very least on a subconscious basis, first and foremost, it comes down to necessity. Somebody needs to walk somewhere, they need to walk somewhere, but you need to pay attention as to how they walk and why they're walking in such a manner. A homosexual man, a flamboyant man, will walk like a woman, accenting his feminine ways as the woman moves with more arm than your heterosexual man. That's because the woman has a more flexible elbow joint. So by default, her movement is more feminine because it showcases more of a feminine trait, i.e., the man can't literally walk in that manner, but the effeminized man will walk in a way that is subconsciously an attempt to replicate that feminine walk, that female walk. That's the movement. That movement has attracted your attention, and it's highlighted what that man not only has going for him, which is different to the next man, but what he is trying to project into the world. I've spoken to theatre practitioners in regards to movement who speak on the confident male, the territorial male, walking with his groin. They spoke to me on how you can walk from different areas of the body, and sometimes the sure man, the confident man, the dominant man will walk with his genital area leading the way. When you run, you attract more attention than if you walk, and if you walk, you attract more attention than if you stay still. When the woman strokes her hair, she attracts attention to her feminine wrist, exposes the armpit, releases pheromones. Movement attracts attention, and if we don't want to attract attention, we move less, and we lock up more, and we freeze more, and we do our best on a subconscious basis to garner less attention. Common sense, right? So if you do something today, pay attention to the movement of other people and see if something is moving, what are they moving? And when you talk to people, your conscious may not pick up on it, but your subconscious is definitely going to pay attention to what is going on when it comes to the movement and the free form expression of that person before you. How expressive are they? Every degree of movement, whether it be through the twitching of the face, whether it be through the ecstatic and vibrant means of dance you see somebody do, and if they are dancing, what are they dancing with? What are they highlighting, and how are they highlighting it, and why is that? Because a form of dance may be sexualized given they are moving a particular area of their body, which is deemed sexual. Maybe they are uncertain of oneself and dancing in a jittery manner that isn't fluid because the subconscious is fighting against. Let me rephrase. Maybe they are moving in a jittery, uncertain manner as opposed to the dancer who is fluid like water, purely as their conscious, fearful mind is fighting against the primitive mind who doesn't want to attract that attention. Consciously they want to and need to. Subconsciously they are fearful, and the animal inside of them doesn't want to be preyed on by what they deem a threat to the outside world. Even though nothing's going to happen, the equivalent to the threat to the human at this very point is bad judgment. And then again, you think to yourself, what's so dangerous about judgment? Well, quite possibly it might ruin their chances in the breeding pool. It might lower their sexual market value. And isn't that one of the worst things a human can experience? The majority of our actions revolve around procreation and survival. That's the be all and end all. That's the root, that's the essence, that's the core of most of our behaviours. So take a moment and have a look at your movements and look at others' movements and try to make sense, and take this note, if not any, just leave this one as food for thought. Movement attracts attention, and lack of movement not. Take that into consideration, and when you're going on your dates and when you're speaking to your friends and when you're doing this, that and the third, look at where the movement is created. Did that attract your attention? Think, why is that person, at the very least on a subconscious basis, trying to attract my attention to that particular area? Why is their body screaming out for attention there and then? It'll manifest in real time. On that note, I'm signing out. That was some game, so click like and subscribe. Peace.